We're back with some more Yu-Gi-Oh anime. And yes, Kaiba ego is so big, he has to host an entire tournament. Next week, we're getting to the Battle City portion. But first, through this one episode that is kind of also important to that. And of course, it starts off with Joey figuring out that there's a new tournament with Battle City. And also, Joey being mad because Kaiba didn't invite him. And as we know throughout so far, this show so far, Kaiba and Joey don't have a lot of respect for each other. So of course it makes sense that Kaiba ain't gonna invite Joey or give him a good word because it's Kaiba. Let's be honest. Destiny. Of course, yes. Yugi's like, I need to win this for my destiny. And yeah, so she just said, Kaiba, hold the tournament, but then Kaiba decides, I'm going to hold the tournament, but because my ego's so big, I'm going to win it, because to become the #1 duelist, and all that nice stuff. And then Teo's like, didn't you learn your lesson the last time you dueled Kaiba? Well, of course not, but mostly because the Frisbee Duelist thing, I don't know how it works. Joey didn't even know how it worked, so... yeah, he didn't even know how that Frisbee thing works, and I still don't know how it works entirely. Plus, we know Joey, he's not backing down without a fight, so, you know. And yet, Teo needs to go on a whole nother thing about things we already know. We know! Because Shizu told us, Yugi once again told us, we don't need more people telling us the exact same thing again. We get it. We signed up this generic building with no signs or anything. Just a window and hope we just found the right place. Yes. And of course, they figure out that Kaiba has the whole satellite tracking thing, which you can figure out every card in their deck, because this is Kaiba. And here is the duel disc. This is like the most generic picture you could make on a box to advertise the duel disc. And let's be honest, the original Kaiba duel disc, it's still very cool. Let's be honest, just activating it is so cool. And we all know that Yugi got a good rating because Kaiba has some respect for Yugi despite him not wanting him to be #1. But of course we see how Kaiba really hates Joey, giving him 1 star. That's how you do it. That's how Kaiba has an ego. Of course, this guy is one of Merrick's rare hunters. We'll get to that later when it gets to it. Apparently, and he sees that Joey's rarest card is the Red Eyes Black Dragon. And then he changes Joey's rating to have a higher rating so Joey can get into the tournament. We all know Joey is a good duelist, but Kaiba doesn't want to acknowledge that. Because I guess Kaiba doesn't want to acknowledge that Joey is a good duelist, you know. Joey is getting to the hospital to go visit his sister Serenity, you know, because he won the $3 million from Battle City to go see his eye surgeon, so he's going to go check on Serenity. But before he can get that, he gets stopped by a couple creepy people in an alleyway. I know, this is weird. And here is technically the actual first duel we see with the brand new duel discs. Joey versus this random guy, who will become important in the next 2 episodes, I promise. And this is one of the few times we see some of the other people's parents. This is one of the only very few times we'll see Joey's mother, and that is the only time, never again. To start off the duel, Joey summons out his Panther Warrior, while his opponent sets 1 face-down monster. And of course, Joey activates his spell card Scapegoat, and then sacrifices one of them because his Panther Warrior needs to have 1 monster sacrifice in order for it to attack, and he attacks the opponent's face-down monster. And of course, this guy has Exodia. I know, not that big of a surprise, but, you know, getting Exodia requires a lot of stalling and hoping you pull the right card. And Joey summons his Alligator Swordsman and sacrifices yet another Scapegoat because, like I said, Dark Panther, because of course his Panther Warrior special ability, you know, yeah. Ooh, he plays Grateful Charity, which you draw 3 cards and did this card 2. Very banned card. You gotta love how Joey manages to figure out the rules very fast about how tributing works. And then, of course, he tributes both his monsters to summon out his Red Eye Black Dragon. And then this guy manages to draw all the pieces of Exodia. I know, where his deck mainly composes of a lot of probably Graceful Charities and a lot of drawing cards, where I call BS, because this is one of the only times in the entire franchise where someone actually manages to summon Exodia. And of course, short term, Joey loses, and then these rare hunters beat him up and steal his Red Eyes Black Dragon. Oh boy, poor Joey. And then of course they can't find Joey because Joey's kind of disappointing himself because he let his sister down, and Joey ain't exactly up to code about that. And of course his friends try to find him because they're just that good of friends. And yes, of course, Joey is so sad, and he promised Serenity he will always be there for her, and sorry that he let her down. And of course, she does forgive him, and this is a wholesome family moment. You're probably wondering, where's Joey's dad? I don't know. This is like Yu-Gi-Oh! Where we don't see... It is like Yu-Gi-Oh! Where we don't see everyone else's parents. It's kind of weird, actually. Still, a nice, wholesome moment to end the episode off. Don't worry. Hey, on the next episode of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime, we'll get to the start of Battle City and see... Well, what happens, I guess, because I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't seen it yet. So anyway, we'll see you next time. See ya!